I forgot to start the theme song. I made a mistake. Hopefully everyone forgives me. Now I'm talking over the theme song. I'm allowed to talk over the theme song. Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We are a full service CX and UX consultancy and agency. We do projects, training, and consulting. So check us out. The new site is at customercentricity.com. I'm still experimenting with my microphone, so please let me know how this sounds. And welcome to episode 179, where we're going to see a couple of the slides I've been working on about the actual monetary value of UX staff and especially research. Now, if you want a lot more information on numbers, I certainly recommend my new book, Customers Know You Suck, now available as an audiobook, y'all. It's finally out, so you should be able to find it on both Amazon and Audible in English. Let me know if you're having any problems with that, but yeah, it's out. I'm excited. And some of you have been too, and that's very sweet. Let's also say a thank you because I've eaten plenty of chocolate chips today. So thank you to all of the people who are giving to the channel through YouTube by clicking join and giving $3 to $10 per month. Really helps offset the costs, and I certainly appreciate it. It is optional, but always appreciated. Thank you. So hello, Aaron. Yes. Oh, the mic is great. Sounds like you're right next to us. Thank you. Ana Lucia's here. Elvina's here. Yeah, so I've been playing with the microphone. So hopefully you like this one. Okay. Also, it lets me be hands-free and wacky, and I don't have the big thing right in front of me anymore. So there you go. Wow, wow, wow. So I'm going to do a couple of slides that I have, and we'll also get to talking about this stuff. But again, remember, for more information on numbers, Chapter 8 in my new book, Customers Know You Suck, is going to tell you lots of good and bad metrics that you could be considering. Here's a couple of slides that I'm working on for the Transforming Toward Customer Centricity workshop. Hey, does that sound good to you? It should. You can sign up for it at cxcc.to/TTCC. That's the URL for Transforming Toward Customer Centricity. That will dump you on our new deltacx.media site. You can sign up for the one in March, and in a couple of weeks, we will put on sale the one in mid-May, where I will be live in Denver, doing it live and also having people join remotely, which is part of the reason I'm testing a headset microphone. Not sponsored. All right, let's move over to a couple of slides that I have ready, and I can see the chat room. I heard your voice over the music. Yes, I know. I turned on my thing because when I started the stream, I forgot to run the theme song. It was just me going, wait a minute, why isn't my theme song playing? Yikes. All right, so let's see if I hit the correct button. This should be, yes, looks like my PowerPoint slide screen, tiny me, and what else? The optional tip jar, and the chat room is turned off on the screen right now, but I'll read out loud anything that comes through. So let's start with a sample cost-benefit analysis that has to do with democratization or letting other people do UX work, whether or not they're good at it. Oh, Patricia says, I love it. I'm hearing impaired. This sounds beautiful. Thank you. Is this significantly better than the way I've sounded the last few days where I had the little microphone clipped on my sweatshirt? Let me know. Ana Lucia says, I hope that headset is comfortable. I had to use one for months that was so uncomfortable. My ears were hurting in minutes. Yeah. The weight of this headset is 5 grams. So again, not sponsored, everybody. Like, we're going to end up talking about my headset, but no, I'm very happy with it. Okay, if everybody's curious, again, not sponsored. This is the Rode wireless microphone set. This is the wireless Go 2 plugged into Rode's lavalier Go, not the Smart Lav, with their headset. So I have the whole package. Okay, so let's talk about a cost-benefit analysis. And I created this slide after I had seen a year or two ago a job description for something some company was calling a UX research coach. Now, I recognize a lot of companies don't have a UX research coach, but let's pretend they're going to bring one in and that they're going to spend a certain amount of money paying that person. And it could be an annual salary, or it could be someone who comes in and gets paid a lot of money to do corporate training for a number of days. So that's the number I'm using. Here we go. What's the cost benefit analysis if we are going to democratize or dilute, as I say, rather than just hiring qualified people to do the work? So I saw that job for UX research coach, and they wanted at least 7 years of research experience and 3 years as a teacher and instructional designer. So let's just pretend that they're paid $130 American $1,000 a year. Now, we're probably not hiring this person to just train and coach one person. So let's start putting this up on the board. We have $130,000 for this UX research coach, whether that's an annual salary, or if you're talking about some people who I've heard of, Spool and God Health, that might be 4 days of training. I've heard that these people can charge $25,000, $30,000 a day. I can't prove it. I have no paperwork on this. That's what I've heard. That could be 4 days of training with an expert, which makes my rates look extremely fair. So let's say that this person is going to train, let's say 20 people. Let's say there are product managers or engineers or marketers who want to learn UX research from this UX research coach. Now, how much of their time are they going to allocate to learning or doing UX research? Well, they still have a regular job to do. They can't put a huge amount of time to this. So let's imagine that they're going to put 10% of their time towards UX research because they want to do some or a little, but it's not going to be their part or full-time job. Now, again, more math. If the people we're going to be training make, let's say, $95,000 a year because maybe they're lower level people, then, okay, do the math. $190,000 of their annual salaries will go to learning and doing UX work. If you disagree with my math at any point, yell out. But so far, I think this is reasonable. Let me know. Now, if we have 20 people spending 10% of their time doing something, let's do a little bit of math on that. What does that mean? Well, 20% of 20 people and 10% of their time should be the same as 2 people doing 100%. Am I close there? Is that math right? Because 20 times 10 is 200. 2 times 100 is 200. Sorry, 20 times 10 is 200. 2 times 100 is 200. Okay, so if we want to get 200% of UX researchers, we could put 20 people on it at 10%, or we could just hire 2 people at 100%. So question 1, could we spend less than $190,000 on 2 people full-time? I don't know. Depending upon what you're paying and what level they are, maybe. Maybe you can get a junior or mid-level for $95,000 a year and say we don't have to take 20 people off of their mission-critical work 10% of the time. So that's a little bit of math that you could do. And that's an alternative to this program. Hello, yeah. So that's one alternative to this program is what if we just hired 2 people working full-time and we didn't have people doing UX in micro part-time bits and pieces? Now, also notice there's something to be said for efficiency. If we were to hire those 2 full-timers, the experienced specialists, even if they're junior or mid-level, they're still hopefully specialists with some experience. They'll be better at strategy and tactics than any newbie from our company, from outside the UX team, who is now just starting to learn this or possibly guess at it. People with specializations who are hopefully experienced will be better at every step of research or design, whatever they're doing, than someone who's just trying to learn it now. So remember, there's an efficiency payoff here as well. You know, put me on a project versus a product manager just now trying to learn research and get better at it. Not the same efficiency. This is not, these things are not equal. Now, it's a little bit hard to do the math on that, but if you are trying to prove this to someone, you can still make the point that these are not the same efficiencies. And let's also remember, let's remember that we've got decreased efficiency if we are asking people to hold on, let me just check my notes here. Efficiency for CX decreases when our work is being guessed at by lightly trained newbies. This can cause project delays. It could cause projects to head in the wrong directions because the data driving and informing us from this research is flawed or wrong. Now, of course, it's hard to calculate the cost of these inefficiencies or things like that. But hopefully someone at our company, oh, thank you for subscribing. But hopefully someone at our company can calculate or estimate what bad research or bad testing could be costing our company in wasted internal time, burned customer trust, and poor outcomes. So first of all, and don't forget, we're also getting 10% reduced efficiency from those 20 newbies. So if they were doing their work in their domain relatively efficiently before, now we've got trouble. They are doing 10% less work. What's going to happen there? Did we need that work done? Are we going to have to hire more people in their domain? Do we have to hire another product manager because a bunch of product managers started doing 10% less work? There could be all kinds of extra costs that are being added in here that I didn't even put on the screen, but I'm hinting at so that you could use them in your calculations. Let's also read a couple of comments. Aaron says, good to see you, Aaron. Plus, the 20 people are going to stop as soon as they hit minor roadblocks. Story of my life. As soon as I got pushed back and I didn't have sufficient time to dedicate to fleshing out the whole story, and often resulted in time wasted. Yeah, Aaron would know. Brandon says, people getting upskilled will get fatigue from the task switching, especially if research ain't really their jam. Yeah, I certainly agree. Absolutely. 2 fantastic points. And again, if you are doing this math to prove this or fight for this in your company, these are more great points. So let's talk about what could this cost our company in mistakes. Some of you have heard me talk about the costs of poor quality. These are internal and external things that waste our money, waste time, waste environmental resources, things like that. So delays, mistakes, lost revenue, maybe customers get upset and downgrade or leave. What does it cost us to have to stop projects and fix them? How often do we say we'll fix it later? What if we do fix it later? What did that cost us? What did it cost us to delay the things that we stopped to fix the thing? All because of some flawed research and testing that sent us in the wrong direction or made us overconfident about the wrong thing. So for my sample calculation, I'm pretending that it's only going to cost our company, let's say, $200,000. Because when you think about what an engineering team is paid in a sprint, product managers in a sprint, your UX team in a sprint, And having to go back and do rework, it could be more than $200,000, but I'm being conservative in this estimate. Over the course of a year, what if we're making $200,000 of mistakes, rework, and lost revenue? Now let's do some more math. We paid $130,000 for that coach or outside trainer. We paid $190,000 for the time 20 people were going to take away from their normal jobs to do UX, to learn it, to try it. And we spent $200,000 on problems, delays, mistakes, rework. That means our democratization experiment might cost us, in my sample world, $520,000, including time and mistakes. Now, we have to compare that to what else we could have spent $520,000 on. What if we spent $520,000 on a lead researcher for $130, a senior researcher for $110, and 4 juniors at $70 each? Now these are just sample pay. Some people in different parts of America or the world will make more. Some people will make less or much less, but it should all be relative to each other in the course of this math. So 20 people trying to quickly learn and then part-time guests at specialized work, or 6 qualified full-time workers, full-time, not 3 hours this week here and there. 6 qualified full-time workers hitting the ground running and working efficiently, making few or no mistakes, not delaying other projects. For what it would cost you to have 20 people working on UX about 3 hours each a week, you could have 6 people each working 30 hours a week, because that's what I say a real work week is. If your work week is 40 hours, and you subtract lunch and breaks and whatever, it's probably real 30 hours of work. One of these is a clear winner. So if we look at costs, benefits, and possible consequences, training non-UX teammates kind of makes no sense. And this is what speaking the business's language looks like. It's down to money. Show them how they will save money, save mistakes, and save having to fix things later when we hire the right people to do great work the first time, which is also agile and also lean. So, before I move away from this slide, does anybody have comments or questions? Anybody see a mistake in the math or something that could be improved or added? You know, I also, obviously, I'm going to do my full slide deck on Don't Democratize UX, which today's slides are from. So this is a little preview. But we also have to think about, well, there's so much to think about. It's an entire presentation, but I'm doing it at a couple of conferences coming up, and I wanted them to have exclusivity before I do it here on the channel. Ralitza says, do we need the coach? Well, that would be an interesting question, because let's say we didn't have a coach and we're not paying the coach. Who is teaching the non-UX people to do UX work? Because in this sample, this is about democratization or diluting UX, or, product managers can do research, or engineers can design, or product managers can design. Ralitza says a lot of businesses delegate this to workers and not externals. I get the feeling you're joining late, because we said that the research coach was an actual job I saw on LinkedIn, and they were going to bring that person in as a full-timer, but they were not going to let them do research. They were just there to coach others as the company democratized research and let everybody, product management, engineering, marketing, learn UX. They were looking for someone with 7 years in UX research and 3 years as an instructional designer. Now, you could take away that person and that job, since that's still a rare job, luckily. But the question is, if we imagine in the scheme of democratization or dilution, someone is teaching or training or overseeing the non-UX people who are going to learn UX and do some UX, there's still some money in there somewhere. If you said, okay, 2 of our senior researchers are going to spend 10 hours a week each on this, hi Wilson, then there's still a number in there. 2 people, a third of their time, whatever their salary is, we can do the math on this. So even if you don't like some of my numbers, remember, you can still take this model and you can apply your own numbers to it. You can say, oh, hey, we've got 4 researchers and they're going to spend each 5 hours a week overseeing other people's research work and teaching them research. So we know what they're paid. Here's that number. It could be $130,000 a year by the time it's all said and done. It could be more, could be less. Ralitza says, was just thinking of counter arguments business will say, we don't need a coach or we haven't hired a coach. Right. So we were talking about this could be a full-time coach. This could be Jared Spool coming to your company to train people for 4 days, because I hear that's roughly what he charges, though I can't prove it. It could be, it could be a lot of things. I go into companies as an outside trainer, though I don't charge 25 or 30,000 a day. Oh, hi, Violette. Jamie R says, no way. That sounds like a terrible model to dilute UX like that. Well, it's happening almost every day at so many companies, and I think we have to speak the language of the business and show them where the math just doesn't work. We might think we want product managers to learn and do UX research, but it's not the kind of thing you can learn in an hour. You can't learn it well in 2 days. You're not going to be good at it after a week. And same for design. You can't learn design in days or a week. We see people coming out of 12-week boot camps who aren't job ready, who have trouble getting their first job. So, think about that. Ana Lucia says, I worked as a consultant doing a bunch of different tasks and I burned down. Brandon has a really great point. I don't think I was doing anything perfectly. I had no time to specialize. For sure. Okay, let me take a look at a couple of other slides I was going to show today, though I don't want to show too many because we're going to do this, the whole Don't Democratize UX presentation at the end of March. Like I said, I'm giving a couple of conferences exclusivity first. Then I'll be doing this at the end of March, and it'll be up on here, and you can share it out and stuff like that. Here is another slide that I've been working on. Here we go. Something good is coming. There's an icon on the screen. Hi, Diggs. Thanks for joining us on Twitch. It's only you. Come on over to YouTube. There's fun emojis happening here. Okay, so this is a different cost-benefit analysis. I know the title, same title on the slide, but when you see them contextually, it'll make more sense. So this one does some math on, can the time and money spent on good UX research pay for itself in a typical corporate environment? So here's how I lay out the math for this. And again, comment as we go. Disagree, fix my math, go ahead. I'm happy to have any comments as we go. I'm grateful to all of you for your involvement. So let's do the math on this one. Let's say we have a team of 6 engineers. And again, I'm using some American numbers here. Things may vary based on where you live. Let's imagine each engineer is paid an average of 130,000 American dollars per year. That means 1 week of work. So if you divide their salaries by 52 and then you multiply by 6 because there's 6 engineers, every week of work costs the company $15,000 because that's what the team is paid. Now, in reality, even this number's a little low because in America, salaries cost the company more than just the salary, but I'm not going to go there. Let's just use the salary number. Now, those of you who have seen some of my presentations before would know that I suggest putting teams of 3 UX researchers together for every Agile or Scrum or project team. Don't put half a researcher on. Don't put a researcher every other week. Don't put a researcher on 10 projects. I want to see 3 researchers completely dedicated to one team. Now, I know that's a far off dream, so far away, I get it, but we're going to do the math on it anyway because I think it's a future possibility. First, let's see what Aaron is saying. Aaron switched over to YouTube and says, counterpoint from a business would be long-term comparison. A $130,000 coach would be considered a one-time fee. It would be $520K for 1 year and then $390K thereafter. So they're comparing $520K to $390. Depends. Yeah, so that's a possibility. But we would also have to see how much carnage there is because maybe my number of $200,000 is low. Maybe the more people doing this, the more carnage we see. Aaron says, tie a price to the inefficiency and time wasted if people are only dedicating 10 to 15% of their time and estimate at least 1 to 2 wasted projects. Yes, totally agree. Aaron's totally right there. Great points. Okay, new slide with new math. Okay, engineers, $15,000 a week. I'm dreaming of 3 UX researchers working together, dedicated to that engineering team. And again, let's imagine, like we did on the last slide, that we have a lead making 130, a senior making 110, and a junior making 70. We've paired them together. The math on that should work out to every week of work costs our company $6,000. Now, continuing my big future dreaming, I would love to see, at least once in a while, a team of researchers allowed to do a big generative early study to really answer our unanswered questions, to replace guesses and assumptions with knowledge, to help us be more evidence-based for our decisions and strategies. So I dream that there is a 6-week project researchers could do that would really set us up for success. Now, many companies feel very nervous about a 6-week project. It seems like such a long time. I'm telling them to put 3 people on it. But if we do the math, a team costing $6,000 a week, working for 6 weeks, would cost the company $36,000. All right. Who else is on the team? What other salaries do we need to worry about? Well, again, being somewhat conservative, let's imagine there is a product manager also being paid $130,000 a year, and let's imagine there is an underpaid UX designer who's getting $110,000 a year. They would be $5,000 a week. So, our team, product manager, UX designer, and engineers all together, leaving out the researchers for a moment, cost our company $20,000 a week. Now the question is, how many days would we have to save that team for $36,000 to pay for itself? That's my question. Maybe you have other math questions that we could handle with this scenario, but that was one of the questions that I asked myself, because someone might say $36,000 just for research, that's wild. But hold on, how many days of work would it have to save a team that costs $20,000 a week? And the answer ends up being 9 days. Not even a sprint. A 2-week sprint would be 10 days. So if we can save the entire team less than a sprint of work, from change orders, from guesses, from workshop days, I'm going to put all these up on the screen. There's so many ways that 9 days can be saved, and they don't have to be in a row. We're just talking about over the large arc of the entire project. Sometime between now and whenever we declare this project completely finished, could we save people 9 days by having better knowledge and better evidence and going in the right direction better? Let's break it down. So We would only have to save our team roughly one sprint of work for 3 sprints of research to pay for themselves. Great research guides us to better CX and product strategies, better solutions and design decisions, reducing our risk of shipping something that doesn't fit our customers, and saving us from delivering something we claim is good enough but has to be fixed later. Ralitsa says, actually, we did research with UX professionals. We asked about budgets, and I can tell you that this isn't even considered a huge number, the 36,000. No, I don't think 36,000 is a huge number either. I mean, when I think about some of the proposals that I, as an agency, Delta CX, put out to people, 36 is on the low end of some of our proposals. So if you can get great research for 36,000, it's a pretty fair number. Okay, so going back to the content that's on the screen. Let's see, what else does the screen say? Reduce risk of shipping something that doesn't fit our customers, saving us from delivering something we claim is good enough but has to be fixed later, fewer change requests, and less or no rework. Violette is asking, how does she sign up for the workshop with Larry? It is not live yet. So we're hoping it'll be live around March 1st. Everyone, please hold on the Denver workshop with Larry. Violette, will you come to Denver or will you join remotely? Okay, so going back to the slide, there's more ways that we could be saving money based on the good, solid, generative, discovery, exploratory, whatever we want to call it, that early research, behavioral, attitudinal. We could be making and saving money because we won more customers, because better products made customers happier, more customers stuck around and were loyal, satisfied customers spread positive word of mouth. How about the money saved on fewer customer support tickets? When people are bugging customer support about your feature, that costs the company money. That should be a line item in the project's budget. It's real money. What about workshop days? There's a lot of companies that are spending 1 day, 5 days, even 10 days on workshopping, normally because they just want to guess at how they're going to solve a problem, and they usually don't start with good research first. So they're kind of really cold guessing how they're going to solve the problem, and they're hoping that some brainstorming or a design sprint or design thinking exercises will help them. That's all days that you could be saving. That's $20,000 a week that you could be saving in these workshops. Violette says, remotely, I landed a new role where they say it's mostly research and strategy and some design. I'm pumped. Yay, congratulations. Ralitsa says, I personally wouldn't compare research output to saving the rest of the team time. While that's a good starting point, this is already CapEx for companies. They've accounted for it. Well, yes and no. Remember, if you, in a corporate environment, if we go to someone and we say, hey, we really would like to do 3 weeks, 4, 5, 6 weeks of research before we start this project or before we do this design sprint, you are usually laughed right out of the room. I have rarely seen anybody say, yeah, you know, we have a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe we should stop and research that first. So some of this is going to be proving that the time and expense are worth it. Prove that however you can, but I'm telling you, empathy is not enough. You can't say, we know our customers are struggling, or we're worried that our project won't build the right thing. No one's going to say, oh wow, I have so much empathy for what you're saying right now. Here's all the money you need, go do that research. So we have to remember that some of this is just going to be proving that this should even happen. Yes, we know it's CapEx. Yes, we know it's going to come out of the project's budget or UX's budget or product management's budget or somebody else's budget. Sure, that money comes from somewhere, but we have to prove that we should have it and spend it. I'm not done with the slide yet, but Aaron says, is there any data or information on how conducting UX research with active clients give them an outlet to vent so as to not bottle up frustrations? For me personally, I know as long as I know it's being worked on, I'm okay if it takes time for a solution. That's interesting. It's interesting to say, does it help the vibe of the team or the project or the stakeholders for them to know some things being worked on. I don't know. I don't think I can totally answer that. We would hope it would, but sometimes they feel like nothing's happening until they see designs and engineering coding them. So we would have to make sure that we're showing interesting things from research either as we go or certainly at the end of the research, so people can say, oh, wow, look at the neat things that we learned. Wow, we sure were wrong about some of those assumptions we had. Good thing we did that research. Okay, so back to the slide, I wanted to tell a little story about workshop days. When I worked at Macy's, they used to do constant 2-week innovation sprints. And while I was there, I don't think any of them went to market. That's a huge amount of time wasted, especially with 10 people in the room for 10 days every time they did it. So it really was a full sprint. A design sprint can be 2 to 5 days. These innovation sprints were 10 business days with, I think, 10 or more people in the room. So this was tens of thousands of dollars. This was 2 weeks, 10 people. Unbelievable. So start with great research and be pickier about when you really need a workshop. And you could be saving team time and expenses here as well. Ralitza says, I was more thinking along the lines of we have to put that in the context of product performance or strategic correlation. From my product management experience, tying things to product performance works wonders, but it's extremely hard to do properly for our work, so that's a challenge. Yeah, I think that for some of that, we're going to have to compare projects that didn't start with good research to projects that started with good research. Can we show that the projects that start with good research have anything better going for them? Time saved, money saved, better decisions made, more informed decisions made, disasters avoided, less customer support, happier customers. There's always things that we can measure, and we might have to start with compare projects not using research to projects using research. That could just be one way. So to finish up this slide, it says, common excuses that we don't have time or budget for thorough research should fall apart when we do some math. Common excuses that we don't really need the research and we can guess our way to product market fit and customer satisfaction would fall apart if we allowed teams to do thorough generative qualitative research. We can then compare how the longer arc of our project goes with and without early generative research, as I was just saying, but now it's in my notes. We can check if we achieved more adoption, higher satisfaction, improved retention, higher average order value, longer customer. I mean, there's so many things we can look at. We can check our KPIs. We can check what we spent on salaries for the team. I imagine we would learn that in most, if not all projects, early research wins over cycles of guessing. Ralitza says, by the way, I really love your workshop math. It's such a huge money and time sink. I didn't even realize how much until I saw your info on that. And I was like, damn, that is so wasteful. Thank you very much for that. So I was just going to show those 2 slides today, knowing that the rest of the Don't Democratize is going to come at the end of March. I'll be doing that full presentation, probably even the hour or just over an hour version. So that is coming, but those are 2 of my slides about doing the math. And remember, if you've got the Customers Know You Suck book, which again is available from the deltacx.media site for as little as $1 for a digital download. So I've tried to make it affordable to everybody. There is chapter 8 on measuring customer centricity, and I talk about some good metrics and some pretty terrible metrics, some pretty bad metrics that I think are deceiving or vanity metrics or not the right things to focus on or measure. So lots of other stuff there. So Hey, that was all I had planned for today's show. Anybody have any questions or comments while I take a look at the upcoming show calendar and tell you what else is going on? Tomorrow is practicing critical thinking. I think we have 6 or 7 things you've sent in. Plus, I wanted to talk about some fireworks that we experienced over in the Slack community over some language that I used. And I'd like to get everyone thinking critically about that because maybe I did the right thing and maybe I did the wrong thing, and maybe it's both and maybe neither, and I don't know anymore. So we'll be talking about the things you sent in plus this other thing. Violette says, my place does workshops mostly just to help the whole org transform towards customer trust. Well, why aren't you bringing me in? I charge way less than everybody else for a day of training. I would love to come and do my transforming toward customer centricity at your company. If y'all haven't seen my map online, it's cxcc.to/speaking. And you can see the speaking I have planned this year, remote, hybrid, on-site. I will be traveling again, and I would love to come to your city and do a meetup. I would love to come to your company and do a workshop. Get in touch. I am traveling again. And I just had COVID, so I should be good for a few months, right? Next week, we've got Think Out Loud on Monday, which I don't have anything planned for yet. So if you want to send in something for Think Out Loud, please do. Go to deltacx.com/links, which is where you can also join our Slack and Discord communities, which are free. Tuesday is Office Hours Ask Me Anything, and it's just me. And actually, it's double that day. I'll be doing the early one at 10 a.m. Italy time for people in time zones east of me. East is that way. And I'll be doing the usual 6:30 p.m. Italy time one. So double dose of office hours on Tuesday, the 21st of February. Wednesday is book club. We'll be talking about chapters 9, 10, and 11, or you can just come and listen. And if you haven't read it, that's cool too. It's totally free. It's in Google Meet. Check the calendar. deltacx.com/links has a calendar. And then Friday, the 24th, I'm going to do a special show where we normally wouldn't have a show that Friday, but people are passing around that MIT article pretty severely pooping on design thinking and talking about how IDEO is already revising it, which I think is very interesting. So I'm going to read that article out loud, even though I didn't write it, so that means it's even better. And let's turn it into a discussion about design thinking and the future of design thinking and what does that mean for anything. So that's what's coming for the next week or so. Any other thoughts or questions before I wrap up a little early and play us out of here? I know we're delayed about 40 seconds, so I'll take a quick drink. And thank you again to everybody who joined today live and made some really great points and asked great questions. Thank you for really adding to what I was saying there in those slides. It's sometimes a group effort, but not a workshop. Aw, thank you, Solomon. Solomon says, always love to hear your voice. Well, maybe it's this microphone. Maybe people are just enjoying this new microphone better than the other one. Is it significantly better than the one I've been clipping on my hoodie? The problem is I can't hear somebody, so it doesn't make sense for like a Dr. Nick because I can't hear him. I would have to like wear headphones on top of that, and it gets silly, but I could try. Violette says, I'd love to have you come in the middle of Canada. I will happily come to the middle of Canada. Just, see if work can put aside a little budget for that. Jamie says, do you find that there's real benefit in doing workshops with non-design stakeholders, particularly remotely? I've never left a workshop feeling we learned something new, felt like vanity. Now, again, that's going to depend on the workshop, but I think most people know that I'm not a fan of workshops. I think they tend to be theater, and they tend to be, let's get together and try to do something fun or creative. And you can certainly do fun and creative things at work, but I would kind of like them to stop happening in my domain. Like, this is my job. Please stop trying to turn my job into fun and wackiness and twister and whatever. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Oluwagbe Mileke. Sorry, I probably didn't pronounce that well, but thank you so much for joining. And please forgive my poor pronunciations of everybody's names. I'm probably saying Violette wrong, so sorry. So I am not into workshops, and I also don't believe that anything has to be a workshop. It can be a meeting. We met with our new client last week. We did do an exercise with them, and I still called it a meeting. Not everything has to be a workshop. So I think we just have to be very careful with what these are. If you are talking to stakeholders, if you're talking to them, you're interviewing them, maybe you have an exercise, maybe you don't. Maybe this is just a meeting, because I feel like once we say workshop to people, they imagine fun and sticky notes and wackiness and brainstorming, and not everything has to be that. Jamie says, yeah, I feel that point on please let me do my job. It's funny, we aren't expecting marketing or engineering to do the same kinds of workshops, right? Yeah, we're definitely not. None of these workshops happen in anybody's domain. We are not all getting together to brainstorm marketing campaigns. We could, but marketing doesn't want that. Ralitza says, what other ways are there to prove research value? Team saving, utilization time, check. Project comparison, check. Cost savings, check. Other thoughts? Yes. So ultimately, you should be able to prove the value of research in other ways. I believe that, and again, it's going to take a little bit of a longer arc and more attention, but ultimately, research affects strategies and decisions. I would love to see, did people start making better decisions? Did people prioritize differently? Did we do a better job the first time? What about customer satisfaction scores? I don't love customer satisfaction surveys, but some companies do. Are we seeing better customer satisfaction scores? Are we seeing more people renewing? Are we seeing them growing their account or upgrading it? Are we seeing fewer customer support tickets? I think there's so many ways to measure the three things that every company wants: customer adoption, customer satisfaction, and customer retention or loyalty. Patricia says, yes, it's clearer. The clip captures the voice when close to it. When turning away, the voice volume decreases. Always true for a lapel mic. If I do this and it's over here, it's not traveling with my head. So you're totally right. Okay. Yeah. So I tell people, look, you don't need me to tell you everything. Get creative. Realize that there are probably multiple ways to track different things that have meaning inside of your organization. Where does the company care? Do they care about customer loyalty? Do they care about NPS scores? See if you can use better research to make better decisions, to make better products so the NPS goes up. I don't love NPS, but if somebody cares about it and we can make it go up, that's a thing. So I think ultimately there are many ways to measure it, many ways to talk about it, and a bunch of them are in Chapter 8 of the book, because Chapter 8 is measuring customer centricity. And I talk about these types of metrics, as well as how we can try a few things internally to see how customer-centric our teams and processes are. All right. Oh, I'm sleepy, but it doesn't matter because I have a call in about 3 hours, so I'm going to have to find a way to stay awake. Ooh, and I'm allergic to caffeine, so I'm just going to have to stay awake. Maybe I should take a cold walk. It says it's 8 degrees outside, 8 Celsius, everybody. Maybe I should go take a cold walk. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for joining. Special thanks to Ralitza, who, of course, has product management background and agile coach background, who really helped giving us a nice perspective on this. Aaron says, show them a picture of ripped abs and tell the story. Healthy products require a healthy diet, engineers, product managers, and exercise. UX research. Sounds like a slide Aaron has shown someone before. Well, if it works, give it a try. Yes, to be continued. Okay, everybody, have a super day or evening. And it's Thursday, so I'll see everybody tomorrow, hopefully for critical thinking at 6:30 p.m. Italy time, our usual time, not usually time. And so I'm out of here, but have a super rest of your whatever and catch you soon. Thanks. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are